happen to see Mune walking out here. He's been in already, getting a lot of work in, it seems like, first couple days here.
Yeah, no, he seems very excited to be here. I think, he's the point of coming out here right now too is to prepare for the WBC, get to know his teammates, and get ready for the season. But he looks really good. I think he's going to mix in really well with the team and the organization, and it's fun having him in the building. That's for sure.
It appears you're looking still for veteran pitchers to pitch some innings. Is that going to be? You're going to continue in that mode? Do you think to fortify the starting pitching innings?
We feel that we've been able to bring in a fair amount of depth, create some depth, whether it be guys that are coming back here, some outside additions through trade, some free agents. So we know navigating a full season takes a lot of pitching, starting pitching and relievers. We've got some versatility in there, so we're always going to look for opportunities to add. We've got a young group of pitchers that it's a heavy load to get through a full season. So it gives us a little bit more flexibility when you've got some arms that come into an organization that have done it before.
Chris, I know camp doesn't really start till tomorrow, but you have two really good young catchers developing in Caro and Teal. Corley's a good catcher too. Is there thoughts early on, just preliminary discussions of keeping all three, you think, during the regular season?
We'll continue to discuss it. Nothing's definitive at this time. Obviously, we got to work through spring training. A lot of things can happen. We're fortunate to have a plethora of catchers that we feel like are major league capable and can be impactful. So we feel like we've developed a strength in that area, but we haven't determined on how we're going to utilize the 26-man roster quite yet.
What is the key to kind of getting the most out of those two and continue their development along the way as well?
Well, the catching position is very demanding, physically, mentally, everything that goes into it. So to be able to have different options to keep our guys productive and healthy throughout the season is really important. So, when you're talking about those three catchers, these are guys that they complement each other, and obviously more playing time, more reps behind the plate and at bats is beneficial. But most importantly, you want to keep these guys healthy and productive. So to have different options, I think, is a good thing. You come out to spring training; these guys are going to be able to get a lot of different work in. You've got games in the backfields, you've got split squads. So we'll be able to balance the attack so everyone feels like they're ready to go come opening day.
But these guys are staying at catcher, right? You're not going to look at Teal and Caro at other Teal, especially with the experience.
They're gonna be behind the dish.
As far as what you said at Sox Fest, one thing caught my attention about Grant Taylor's role, and that is it might be some type of hybrid thing where you stretch him out and he, gets multiple innings in as a reliever, but that goal could get him going toward starting after that a year from now, or how do you look at it?
This year, we definitely want him in a multi-inning role. That doesn't mean that he won't have outings that it's one inning, and I anticipate that Grant's going to have outings that he pitches two innings and has two ups. We just want to continue to build his workload at the major league level. He's just getting his major league career started, so we're very open-minded on where his career goes. But as it stands going into 26, we view him as a bullpen arm, and Will and the staff, the pitching staff, they'll find ways to use Grant Taylor. That's not an issue. We want to keep him healthy and productive. We've got Sir Anthony Dominguez now in leisure, going into another year under his belt. We feel like guys are beginning to settle into certain roles and can handle the workload and get in different spots, leverage, non-leverage. So, Grant, very talented arm. We certainly are lucky to have him in the bullpen right now, and we'll see where the year takes him, and we'll face the what to do with Grant Taylor next offseason.
Considering the second half you had, the off season you've had, what are your emotions about the team coming into spring training right now?
Yeah, we're excited. There's a fair amount of momentum that's been created both because of the second half last year, some of the acquisitions that we were able to make in the off season. So, but I know that Will's really focused to start at ground zero and start from zero and get to work both fundamentally, ease these guys into playing time, so we're off and ready to go come opening day. So, yeah, we feel really good about where we're at. The room is excited. They're hungry. But we got to go out and play good baseball, and that's why we're out here in spring training to really set the stage for that.
Do you think you could surprise some people in your own division?
Yeah, we're a team that we feel like we can go out there and compete on a regular basis, and we showed that in the second half, regardless of who we were playing against. We won some really good series against some good ball clubs. So we hope to take that same mindset and approach into this year. There's no reason why we can't get off to a really good start and see where the year takes us.
Chris, I know you're not thinking in terms of wins and losses necessarily as the specific goal, but how confident are you that the era of 100 loss seasons is behind you? And if that's not the specific goal, like how do you sort of evaluate the team going ahead?
Well, we know that we're going to make meaningful strides in the right direction, and that shows up in a lot of different ways. And obviously, winning baseball games at the major league level is why we come here, why we show up. But we're building, and we've accumulated a lot of talent. We've got players that are pushing towards the major leagues. We've got players that are more experienced at the major league level. We know that's going to lead to more success. So, we're focused on what's in front of us in that particular day, and regardless of what happens on that day, we're going to have that same mindset with the following day.
As the last free agents start coming off of the list, and they're anxious to get to spring training, how are you set on payroll flexibility, if you'd like to add?
We've got flexibility, we do, but we do feel really good about the group that we have in here. So much of this year is going to be the continual development of the young players that we have on this roster. Obviously, we've added some players like Mune, Sean Newcomb, that all have an interesting story to tell. And, we're confident that a lot of players that we're bringing in from outside of the organization have a chance to really impact the major league club in a meaningful manner. So, it's a team full of young players with some veterans that if and when it comes together, a lot of good things are going to happen because of that.
If Fedde gets to the finish line, how do you get back to what he was in 24?
Yeah, we that's not official. He's a guy that we've had discussions with his agent, and he had a lot of success here not too long ago, and we'll make that determination at the right determination at the right time.
Is going into camp Sean Newcomb still being stretched out? You look at him still as a possibility for the starting rotation?
Yeah, he's going to come in and compete for a spot. We've got a handful of guys that are we plan on building up in multi-inning roles. Some of them will be starters, some of them will be relievers. I think a strength that we have is just the versatility and the options that we've been able to bring in here, and Newcomb is going to come in here and compete for a starting spot.
How do you talk to kind of those guys, that seems like guys who can do both would rather start a lot of times? So how do you kind of make it clear to them that, yeah, hey, we're building you up, but you may end up, you're going to have a role, but you may have a role.
You're open and honest. You talk about all the different options that can happen for guys, and Will and the staff, and myself. We'll sit down with each guy in the beginning of camp. We'll start doing it tomorrow, and talk about what we're aiming to accomplish this camp and the possibilities that might come out of it.
When you have a new slugger like Mune, did you come out and watch his first swings? Or you seen enough of it, on tape and all that stuff, or did people take notice on his first swings?
I know that there was a pretty good following at his first cage session. I just got out here today, so I look forward to watching him more. But yeah, we're all excited. I think he's one of those hitters when he steps in the box you're going to want to watch.
You were talking about some of those newer guys, a guy like Acuna. What's the key for him to sort of settle in, getting that opportunity there to play center field as well?
Yeah, he had a really good winter ball. He's making some adjustments. He's been making some adjustments to his swing this off season to get more of a line drive, ball in the air, ball off the ground, swing plane, and he's made a lot of strides doing that. So look forward to seeing how that plays out. He's got a lot of potential. He can play all over the diamond. He's a strong defender, base runner, switch hitter. He can do a lot of different things to help you win. We want to get him comfortable. He's going to be playing a fair amount of center field out here. We know he's athletic and be able to handle that. He played a fair amount in winter ball. But we're not closing the door on the infield either. He's a guy that just happens to have the ability to play everywhere. So, he's certainly a guy to keep an eye on. We're excited about, being able to work with him, and he could be part of the winning formula here in Chicago.
As a GM, how squeamish do you get when you have to turn your outstanding players over to another general manager, another hitting coach, pitching coach, for the WBC?
I choose to view it as an opportunity for these players to play for something bigger than themselves, beyond even their organization, but on a national stage, and for their own development. I think that they could be a real positive. So I choose to think of it that way versus the players working with other guys. I mean, we're in regular communication with the coaches for each of the teams, and the players are really excited about it, and I look forward to watching them play as well. But I also look forward to the time where they come back and we get ready for the regular season.
Alexei's playing at 44. Did you give any thoughts on retirement? Maybe?
No one was interested.
What do you think about Alexei coming back and playing?
Good for him. It was very clear the love and the passion that he has for baseball, and that clearly has not gone away. So for him to get a chance to do that is very cool, and it'll be a fun player to follow in this.
Did you see Mune's nameplate go a little viral with the misspelling? Is that just spring training for everyone? Kind of
Yeah, I did see that. I know that he made a post about it in jest. We certainly are getting that fixed if we haven't already. But yeah, he's a fun-loving guy, and just wants to get out here and play baseball.
How much do you expect to be able to kind of onboard him before he leaves? I know hitting coach is going to want to get a feel for him before even prescribing any tweaks or changes. How much do you really think he can be done in the time he's here?
Well, he's going to be here for a couple weeks, and I know that they're already starting to talk to him. Most importantly, we want him to feel comfortable. Really talented player that's accomplished a lot. There's going to be some needed adjustments along the way because that applies to every hitter at the major league level. But we've got plenty of time. We do, and I know whether it be Ryan Fuller or Derek Showman, they've got an ability to communicate to all ranges of hitters, and they're building a really strong relationship right now, and that's going to serve the White Sox well throughout the season.
You mentioned Luis Angel possibly playing a lot of center. Do you see a world where he just becomes your everyday center fielder, or do you even want anybody to kind of win jobs in the outfield, or just view them all as options soon?
I view it as options. I could see him, playing great out there and just taking off, and that would be welcomed as well. So, but most importantly, we've created versatility. He's got versatility. It's a huge weapon for him and for us. And it's about getting the entirety of his skill set in the lineup on a regular basis. That's going to help the White Sox.
Everything okay from an injury standpoint during camp?
Everything's good so far. Obviously, every day could bring something different, but we're in a really good spot right now.
And I guess just generally the big picture. Just what are a couple of those things that do excite you the most as you guys enter camp?
Yeah, I look forward to continue to watch Grant Taylor's development. Mike Vassell, year 2 after coming over a Rule 5. Shane Smith, year 2 as well. We've got some Rule 5 picks that are in camp with us. So, and based on the success we had last year, I look forward to seeing that unfold. Hagen Smith and Noah Schultz. They with the season they had last year, I look forward to seeing where they're at this coming camp. And really, this group, they love being around each other. They love playing together. They're learning how to win, and just to get everyone together. It's a unique opportunity in spring training always to have a majority of the organization in one place. We feel really good about the direction we're headed, and to get everyone in this building right now working towards what we want to accomplish here in the future is really valuable and rewarding and exciting for the next steps for the Chicago White Sox.
What do you see along that line, Venable's evolution as a manager?
You know, year two, he's definitely going to be more comfortable in the role. I know that. He's a guy that, I mean, he's so bright and adaptable. He knows the players better. You know, last year in spring training, you know, a lot of it was just getting to know the players, understanding the day-to-day operation of being a manager at the major league level. And now that he's got a year under his belt, he's equipped to do even better. I mean, be more confident. You know, he just understands the role. I mean, he's one of the more talented major league managers, and we're really lucky to have him here with the Chicago White Sox. His communication skills are elite. His temperament, you know, he understands what a manager is, and that's why we're so lucky to have him.
So it's kind of the norm now. More inexperienced guys coming in with no managerial experience, and then developing on their own in the places they come in.
Well, there's a lot of talented people out there, and you know, first and foremost, if you can be a trusted individual that has strong communication skills and understands the game, you know, we feel like that's a recipe for success, and others are trying to apply that in other places. So, I mean, there's different ways to shape that role. The individual will dictate, you know, their form of what the manager is for that particular organization, and in our case, you know, Will's got traits that fit the Chicago White Sox very well.
Will Vessel be more of a swing man in your mind?
I don't know. He's coming in and he's competing for a starting role, and you know, he's another one that's going to be stretched out, and we'll see where that fits in the end. You know, very valuable in the role he filled last year. You know, he's only going to have more confidence. He can do a lot. You know, he can take starts for you. He can, you know, pitch and leverage, and he can cover length. And to have pitchers like Mike Vassell really helps navigate a full season.
Does it ever come into, you know, thinking at all for baseball people what a guy wants to do?
It does, yeah. I mean, you want that communication on both sides. The organization, you know, has their viewpoints, and perhaps a player might have a different viewpoint. But that's why it's so important to have people like Will, others throughout the organization that can have open and honest dialogue. But to get player buy-in, you know, that's what you need to be able to get the best out of the player. So, you know, sometimes it's an ongoing conversation, but we've got guys in the room that want to do best for the organization, feel strongly about that, and you know, you know, we've got an ability to maneuver and adapt. We've shown that as an organization, and the players now, you know, they trust us, that we've got the best in mind for the players, and through that mindset, we feel like we can get the most out of our guys.